Test two, test. Sorry, we're running a little late, everybody. DJ Ty from AGI Pro DJ, and today I am joined by Danny Lee from Roland, and we're going to take a look. Hey, Danny, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you, Ty.
Good to see you. We're going to take a look at the Roland DJ-707, which has been out for a minute or two. But they just released a STREAMpack bundle that just went live just a couple of days ago. And I wouldn't say it's breathing some new life into the controller, but it's certainly expanding the many uses that it already has into something that's fairly relevant for what we're dealing with right now.
100%.
Yeah. So your voice is all sultry. It's almost like MSR. I like it. So do you want to give everybody the lowdown of what the promo is that's running on the 707 and
Yeah, sure.
what it changes or brings to the table as new features?
Cool. So let's check it out. So if you're not familiar with the DJ-707, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but just to kick it off, this is what we're introducing. It's the DJ-707M STREAMpack Bundle. And what the STREAMpack Bundle is going to introduce is that full Serato DJ suite. And if you're not familiar with Serato DJ Suite, it's an incredible collection of plugins. You get video so that you can do things like karaoke. You can mix videos live on things like Twitch. And if you didn't catch AGI stream earlier, that's perfect. One of the best things that's happening to DJing right now. You get a premium subscription, a 90-day trial to BPM Supreme. This alone is worth $90, and why it's premium is because you get a lot of the added benefits that the lower tier membership doesn't get. So you're going to get things like Cloud Rescue. You're going to get things like curated playlists, so you can just go in. If you're not familiar with the genre, there's somebody who's curated an entire playlist worth of songs for you, and you can just go in, download those DJ-ready tracks, and you can rock a party. You also get Rolling Cloud Academy, and what that is you can sit down with a product specialist like myself, and you can get two different trainings. You can get an intro and an advanced course, so you can learn all of the ins and outs of the DJ-707M, how to take full advantage of Serato DJ Suite, and what other things you can do with the controller, like production ideas and things like that. So if you buy the DJ-707M from a participating US dealer like AGI Pro, anywhere from right now through the end of September 2020, those are all of the three things that you're going to be able to get.
Right on. That's quite an added value for sure.
Yeah,
especially the controller comes in at $999, and like you said, it unlocks the ability to use the 707 as an audio source, so you can stream directly from the controller, which most every DJ is live streaming versus nobody's playing any gigs right now. Nobody's getting married. There's very few bars are open. The bars that are open are going to end up closing. We're not out of this mess yet. So that's a lot of value. That's just a freebie, and like you said, through the end of September, correct?
Yeah, through the end of September. It's a $489 value all together with everything that you're getting.
Right on. And then, so the Cloud Academy thing, is that a one-on-one thing or is it a live streaming thing?
So it's a live streaming type of thing. So we go through go-to training, and what that is, it's kind of like a virtual class. So as you sit down, I highly recommend if I do a class, I always recommend people have their setups in front of them, maybe have a monitor going so that we can kind of go through each of the features and the functions together. And that's really the best way that you can sit down with an end user, because typically, and I've got a lot of retail experience, but lately, in this role, I don't talk to a lot of people outside of trade shows. Mm-hmm. So being able to sit down one-on-one, and it's also a great place to gather feedback on the product. It's a great way that if you are curious about something that isn't covered in, let's say, a product video or something like that, and you're just kind of stuck, you've got somebody that you can talk to that can really help you through all of that equipment.
That's very cool. Yeah, like Danny said, you need to have the gear in front of you when you're going through this. It makes such a big difference. Like the guys that will call for support, but they don't, I'm at work.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help you.
That's the hardest thing.
It is. Let me virtually go through everything that it could possibly be wrong. So, and then the BPM Supreme, obviously, which is a great record pool, and like you said, you get some of the higher tiered bonus features like the curated playlists, which are pretty slick, especially if you're going to play a genre or asked to play a genre of an event that you are not familiar with. You could grab one of those curated playlists and probably wing it and not suck, which is
it's a blessing.
It is. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring in ease yet, or do you want to go through some of the 707 stuff?
Yeah, let's just really quickly, I guess, go through all the features real quick as Ease is there, and thank you, Ease, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Ease. Appreciate it, man.
So if you're not familiar with the DJ-707M, I'm just going to go through it real quick. This is the perfect DJ controller for live streaming and home production. You've got a hybrid of a DJ controller and a digital console, and what that means is you've got powerful effects, you've got different routing capabilities, you have 3 different outputs, you have master, booth, and zone, and we've seen the zone output before, but you can do a lot of different things, like you can just send the microphone out if when events start working again and you start working as if you're an events DJ, you can just feed the microphone out. And if you work with a videographer and you want to send him, and you guys work together and you want to send him a signal, you can absolutely do that and route any sort of setting into any of the 3 outputs. You've got 2 XLR mic inputs, 2 RCA line. You've got an additional 2 RCA line that have phono pre's built into channels 1 and 2, so it is DVS ready. So if you are one of those guys like Ease that uses turntables, you can connect a turntable to this, no problem. You've got aux inputs in the front, and that's what I'm doing right now with this microphone that I'm feeding in. That's going into the DJ controller right now. You can add up to 2. Because there's a selectable switch, you can either do a stereo 1/4 inch input. There's an 1/8 inch input, which you can do together with the 1/4 inch inputs. And then if you notice, there's a mic select switch. So if you want, you can add up to 2 additional mic inputs through the aux input in the front. Of course, you'll only have 1 level or 1 volume knob to control the volume of those microphones, but it is a nice little added value that you can hook up to 4 microphones into this device. On the back of the outputs, you've got XLR RCA master outs, you've got 1/4 inch booth outs, and then a pair of RCA zone outputs. On the mic controls, you've got dedicated on and off. You've got a 3-band EQ, which is a lot different than what a lot of other controllers have on the market right now. You can pan. You have 16 different vocal effects. My favorite is auto pitch, and I'll give you a demo that I usually do that makes people laugh, which is great. You got noise cut and gate in the microphone settings as well. And what's unique to this controller is you've got 2 USB ports. So not only can you do the typical DJ changeovers that you see on all the mixers that are available that have 2 USB ports, but what makes this controller different is now this second USB port can be turned into a standard USB audio interface, so it can act just like a regular audio interface. And so if I have my phone here, and if I take, so what I have is another USB cable. I've got the Apple camera connection kit right here. So if I plug this into my phone down here at the bottom, I uninstalled Instagram. I should have reinstalled it for this. But if I wanted to, and I'll just do it through the camera app, what I can do is just feed that audio signal whatever's coming in. It's a little noise because it's coming through the phone. But what I can do is directly just either record that signal, I can feed that live signal into another feed, something like Instagram or Twitch or YouTube Live, and I can have that going no problem. And then you've got, lastly, just if you're a DJ that wants to get into production, you've got a little drum machine section that you can connect everything to, and then you've got patterns and 128 patterns that are already built in onto the controller, so it makes it really easy. That's just a quick overview. So we can bring in Ease, and the reason why DJ Ease is on this stream is because Ease actually uses this controller. He's basically using it for his radio shows to record his radio mixes on the go, and he'll literally pack it into his suitcase, take it out, do his mix, and then call it a day. So I just wanted to Ease, if you can introduce yourself and just tell everybody who you are and
Who you are and why you're here.
Brief overview would be great.
What's going on is DJ E's Red Bull 3 Style National Champion, official tour DJ for Young M.A., Shaq Fu Radio, 4-time DMC Regional Champion. I use Roland controllers, and I've been using 707 a lot, especially on my last tour where I was in Europe. I will use it not only to do my radio mixes in like my hotel rooms because I had to do pre-recorded shows, but I also use it on stage. So, and I'll use it with DVS, and it works really good. And the sound quality is amazing. I also can use it to produce stuff, like on the side if I want to produce a record, I can use it.
So you use this controller with all of those three things. How do you feel as a tool, as a controller of this size? Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, the jog wheels are a little bit small, or the pads are a little bit small. How do you feel in terms of that? And as an actual user, what are your opinions on things like that?
I actually felt like it should be 2 channels. That's the only thing I would change. I actually like the size because if you're on the go like I am, you can use it to do like fast things like radio. But if you need it on stage, it also will fit perfectly in between 2 turntables. If I want to do a DJ routine, like beat juggling or scratching or whatever. But I like the size. Like it's still a great size. I wish it was 2 channels though instead of 4, like the 505. That's the only thing I would change. And obviously not having the screen. I mean the jog wheel. But that's okay. I'm fine with the jog wheel being that small. It's not a problem. Yeah. But I understand.
You mentioned earlier that you'd had said that like if you're doing a gig or you end up somewhere where your writer wasn't quite right, where you didn't have the mixer of your choice, that you just threw the 707 in there and used it as an actual mixer versus, and then with DVS versus, not having, the particular mixer of choice that you might have been looking for. So that's
right. It will work solid with turntables or CDJs, like whatever they had at the club. It works. I had no issues, no hiccups, no problems with using it, and it's a perfect size to fit in between where I don't feel like I'm walking down the street to go change the song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a good size. So yeah, I've definitely used it multiple times when my rider was wrong. So, and when I say rider was wrong, it's like usually just a 4-channel mixer. I'm not gonna say what 4-channel mixers, but the typical 4-channel mixer that doesn't have any hot cues or anything on it for me to move around fastly, do my routines.
Right.
So yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
What's your process when you're using a controller like this? Let's say somebody's asking you to do a radio mix. What goes into your thought process, and how does this hardware help you get to what goal that you're trying to meet?
I use when I do radio sets, I'm big on quick mixing, and the size of the mixer actually allows me to quick mix a lot faster, and also the way it's set up. I like that the filters are right there. So I do a lot of filtering and I do a lot of quick mixing. So if I can see everything properly, I can do the mixes the way I want to do them instead of struggling with because a lot of controllers these days have so many knobs and so many things going on. I feel like this one is like simplified where I can quick mix the way I love to on radio. So.
Right on. And then as a scratch guy, obviously you've got incredible cuts, but how do you feel about the crossfader on this particular?
The fader's dope, man. The fader's butter. I love the fader. I love the fader on this one. I love the fader on the 808. I don't know what fader it is, but I like the fader a lot.
So if you're a crossfader nerd, and if you've been following for a while, it's an alpha fader. So if you're familiar with the Vestax series of faders, that's why this fader might feel very familiar to you.
I didn't know that, so yeah. I just learned that. That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I have a Vestax here right now, so that's good to know.
Yeah. So, yeah. Shout out to the legendary.
Shout out. Yeah, I have Rock Raiders mixer here actually, which is it's cool. I gotta whip that out.
That's amazing. But yeah, that's it. Ease, thanks for joining us. Where can people check you out and check out a mix? Where they can.
Just DJEase.com. You can hit me. My mixes are on SoundCloud. DJEase at DJEase. On Instagram at DJEase_. And I'm working on 4 albums right now. I'm dropping experimental projects as well as under my record label. I have 3 artists I'm putting out right now, and I'm using the Roland 404, the 707, and the what other Roland and
The
the 808
SP404.
SP404. So
Wow.
I'm using multiple Roland devices on this project to get the sound that I want.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Ease, we'll have to have you on our next takeover
Definitely.
Twitch show for sure. Shout
I'll
out
be
to
going
everybody that
live.
was on the stream today for sure. Thank you for
I
joining us.
appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I'm going live for the headliner on Sunday with Little John, Jermaine Dupri, a bunch of other DJs to raise money for Black Lives Matter. So anybody that wants to go on a live stream, I'll be with Headliner Music Club doing that as well.
Cool.
Got our buddy Miles Medina on there too, so check that out.
Okay.
Right on.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely,
yeah, thanks
man.
for joining us today.
Man. So let's get into should we get into a little bit more of the deeper functions? I went over super briefly so we could talk to Ease, but I haven't really talked about the entirety of the audio features that are available on this controller. Should we get into that?
It's pretty deep. It's I kind of giggled when Ease said that it didn't have a lot of knobs and it was pretty simple. that is not what I think when I look at that controller.
Yeah, right.
Somebody watching QFX Skills said, I want to see more about the microphone tuner.
The microphone tuner.
You want to start there?
Yeah, so let's start there. So let me
Okay.
load up a little track. So how this is going to work, and this is how not my PowerPoint screen is set up. This is how my Serato screen is set up. So what I've done, if you're looking at my Serato screen here, I've loaded this track. It's royalty free, so we're not going to get the stream cut or anything like that. So what's great about this is that I've already gone ahead and made sure that I've analyzed my track, so I'm getting the key out of my track. And if you're not familiar with how to get key, if you hit this little settings button up here in this upper right corner, what you want to do is hit Library and Display, this tab right here. And you want to make sure that either color key display shows up, and you can show your key as the Camelot wheel. And I can go into the Camelot wheel. I'm not going to go into in this particular stream, or you can choose the classical key. So if you're more classically trained, a lot of us DJs aren't. I'm not. So I always choose the Camelot wheel because it gives me a really simple numbers to work with. So if you analyze your track, and analyzing means that if you disconnect your controller, you'll have a little button here that'll say analyze, and you can click your file over that analyze button, and then it'll give you a key. And I found that it's pretty good. It's about 90% of the time you'll be able to get the key information correctly. And so what this device is able to do, it's able to read this key information, and you can assign that key information by looking at the controller. And if you stare at the controller, you'll see something called vocal effects key. And you'll notice it's in gray, and anything gray on this controller. So like Ty said, this is a on the surface, like E said, it's rather easy, but if you really consider all the features is when it starts to get really deep. So underneath the Q buttons, you'll notice again there's the vocal effects key, and what I'm going to do here is I'm holding shift. I've got 2 places I can hold shift from, does the same thing. But if I press Q, then I've selected that vocal effects key. So what I've done is I've sent now that key information into my microphone, and I've got this Shure microphone set up into mic setting 1. So let me go ahead and select that. Let me turn off the microphone that I am using. You might hear a little echo. So from here, what I'm going to be doing is taking my microphone that I'm talking into here. I can go into my menu screen here, and if I hit menu, I'm going to go into something called Scene Edit. And once I'm in Scene Edit, I can change either a mixer setting, I can go into my microphone setting. And so since we want to assign an effect into this vocal effects section here, I'm going to hit mic setting. I can adjust my gain. I can set an EQ. But this is where I really want to set it, into this auto effects section. So let me turn this up just a little bit so you can hear it a little better. And when I do that, you'll notice that if I bring it up, right? So now that vocal effect, so this vocal effects knob now turns into a wet dry knob for this auto pitch effect. I was about to call it something else, but that's copywritten, so I'm trying not to. So again, if you go into the effects section, you have 16 different effects that I can choose from. I can do a regular echo. I have a reverb. Dub if you're feeling a little spacey. Hey. I can pitch things up.
I can pitch things down. I can sound kind of weird like this.
Or I can sound digital like this. So I've got all of these different functions available. So if I play this track, and again, what I've done is hold Shift, press Q to get that vocal effects key. And so let me move to another part of the track. And if I turn this effects up, you don't want to hear me sing normally, so I'm just gonna turn it up right now. Right, so you get this really simple way to be able to execute. Let's say you wanted to start your own brand of auto-tune karaoke. That's definitely something that you'd be able to do. So let me switch over now to this headset mic. But now that's really the power that you can do with this particular controller, is because inside of here you've got this screen now. Previously on the other generation of Roland DJ controllers, because you don't have a screen, in order to get to the other extra menus, you would have to do a button press. You'd have to wait for the controller to boot up. You'd have to press all of these different buttons to get to what you wanted to get to. But now this is where you get into a lot of these functions quite easily. And once you remember where all the settings are, for instance, I've got a low cut here. I've got a noise gate. I can pan. I can set my ducking level. So if you're not familiar with ducking, what it means is as the song's playing, it's automatically going to lower the volume as if you were doing this. So you no longer have to mess with your channel faders in order to talk through the microphone. That's really helpful. And you'll notice I've got it set at -6, so you can have it set to duck just a little bit, or you can go all the way off to infinity, or you can have it have more of an extreme effect by going -24 dB. So you've got this range that you can go through and set the ducking level to. I set it to -6 because I find that if I'm performing with someone, like a rapper or a singer, if I find that it's really pleasant if you're just ducking the level just a little bit, so that you can get that performer to sound really, really good. And like I said, you have all of these mixer settings that you can choose and select through. So you have these 4 filter effects knobs for these 4 channels, right? But what's great is once I go into, and again, how I'm doing this, I'm pressing menu. I'm going into something called scene edit, and I have this little encoder knob here that allows me to either go through the menus, I can press it to select things. And so once I'm here, I'm in the mixer section, and this is where I can set my different effects. So here you'll see it says effects all. And this means that once I set an effect, it's going to apply that effect to all 4 channels. If I wanted to, if I click through one, you'll notice it says channel 1, so I'm only going to apply the effect to channel 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So you've got a lot of flexibility here. If you like, there's a ton of different effects. You've got your basics like dub echo, jet, noise, reverb. But then we've got these really cool effects that are taken from our different effects modules throughout the years. You've got something like Bit Crush, which is super cool, and it's built in. It sounds a lot different than the Bit Crush that's built into Serato's effects, software effects. So these are all hardware built-in effects, so you don't even need to use Serato to get these effects. You can maybe plug in a turntable, play records or a CDJ and play off of a USB, or play through its actual intention by feeding a CD through, and you can still get all of these effects right through here because they're hardware based. So you've got all these different effects. You've got a side chain, you've got rolls, you've got loop pitch, and then you've got this really cool vinyl simulation, which is taken from our SP line. So if you wanted to add, and if you're really into production and you wanted to add a little bit of spice, this controller could add that to that particular sound or whatever it is that you're trying to do. So it's a really cool function, and not only can you add effects, but you can also have anti-feedback applied to one of these outputs. Let's say, if live events come back, and if you need help in that department, so that you don't feedback during a live event, that's what the anti-feedback is going to be for. You've got your mixer modes, internal or Serato. So what that means is if you're going to be utilizing this as a standalone mixer, you definitely want to have this in internal mode, because with Serato mode, because you're going through USB, you're going to have just a little bit of latency. So if you want absolutely no latency and you're just coming through with records, you want to be in this mix. We give you 2 different modes that you can choose from so that you can sound the best that you're able to. And then when you look at the output settings, again, we have 3 outputs, right? I talked about having a master out, a booth out, and a zone out. Well, what's really cool about this, and I'm going to be talking about the master out since that's the only thing I have plugged into here, but you can assign, like I said before, different channels. So right now I have all mix, so I have the microphone section, the aux in section, and the channel sections feeding through. Or I can just assign what's called a booth mix. And if I assign a booth mix, then my microphone's not going to come out of this particular output. Or I can have just the decks come out of this output. Or the last one is a setting. So you've got 3 presets and a setting, a custom setting mode, where you can assign your different channels, either on or off, and allow those channels to come through that particular output. You've got EQs, master EQ settings. So just like another mixer that has a master EQ, so aside from these channel EQs, you've got these master EQs as well, which you're able to work with. And those master EQs, what they allow you to do is to really shape your sound and to get it exactly how you need it to be, right? So in addition to the master EQ, you have a sweepable EQ, sweepable Q, I should say, on the low mid and the high mid frequencies, and that's really cool as well. So you have all these functions. You've got a limiter, you've got multi-band compressors built in, so you've got a lot of power and functionality built into the product.
Very cool. Like we were talking about earlier, that it on the surface it may look simple, but it's got a lot of power under the hood, and you guys definitely put a lot of thought into it by including some of the other effects that come from some of the other Roland products. I mean, you have a lot of different products under the brand to pull from to put into these DJ controllers. So it shows that they were definitely well thought out, for sure.
Absolutely.
I had another question about the mic. Can you add Serato effects on the mic? For example, create a chain.
Do a vocal chain type of
like
thing?
tuning plus a reverb from Serato or something?
You can't stack the software effects to the hardware effects built in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Perfect.
Great question though.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just say you had Serato hooked up and you wanted to stream on Twitch with the 707. What's the connectivity involved there?
Great
if
question.
you wanted to go live and stream from that controller?
So there are a couple ways that you can stream, right? You can stream either straight to a phone or an iOS device. You can do it with some Android devices, but because Android is kind of picky and a little bit fragmented, all of our marketing just says straight to iOS. But if you have that capability built in, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but if you have the capability to utilize generic USB devices into your phone, then you can definitely take advantage of that. But what I have for that particular method again is just an additional USB cable with the adapter. So for an Android, obviously, you need a different adapter. I have an iPhone, so it's just going into a Lightning port.
Is that the camera connectivity kit?
This is the camera, USB camera adapter. That's right.
Yep.
It goes USB to Lightning.
Okay.
And then you would just plug that into your phone. On your controller, you would have to set the controller to that generic USB mode, and you would do that in the system settings. So here we have system setting, and then you've got this PCB-USB setting. I have it set to generic. By default, it's on at vendor over here, but I have it set to generic. And the reason why you would do that, the vendor setting allows you to do swap overs from Serato system to Serato system. The generic setting will allow you to connect to anything. So if I wanted to connect my controller and let's say I wanted to do more of a traditional laptop-based stream setup with OBS, I can basically set up, if you have a Mac, you can just plug another USB cable in and then tell OBS that you want to stream from this sound card, and it'll come up as a generic USB sound card.
Comes up as an audio device?
Yeah, exactly.
How many channel audio device is it? Do you know?
It's a 2-channel audio device.
It's 2 channel?
So
okay.
most core audio or generic USB devices are going to be 2-channel.
Okay. And then you mentioned if you had a Mac that it's just a core audio.
Yeah.
On the PC, is it like an ASIO driver or?
I can't remember.
I'm not a PC guy, so I assume there's a Roland driver or some kind of driver pack that's necessary.
So I know for Windows 7 and 8, there's a driver that's necessary. For Windows 10, that driver automatically installs.
Okay.
I have a Windows machine, but I don't do music on it. I only play video games on it.
Nice.
So my knowledge of tech products with a Windows machine is rather limited. I apologize.
Right. Yep, mine is too. We use Windows computers here at work, but everybody has said that streaming with a Mac is a little rough because OBS seems to want to make a Mac sound like it's going to take flight with all the processing power that it takes. So it seems like anybody who's streaming anything right now is using a pretty juiced up PC to do live streaming.
So there are definitely benefits to that. I think in the Mac world, you still get access to something like OBS and I forget the other version of OBS that's really popular. Streamlabs, that's right.
Yep.
And the beauty of the OS X platform is that you can assign different programs to take advantage of different USB audio interfaces.
Right. Different core audio
items. Exactly.
Yep.
On Windows, it's a little bit more complex. You either have to have a dedicated mixer that has an interface that's hooked up to an interface, or you've got to have a dedicated interface already built in a lot of the times. The DJ-707M is a little bit complicated, so it does have multiple outs. So if you had something like a loopback device, and if you just wanted to use that single USB channel, you would have to find the way to loop back the audio from your channels 9 and 10 internally, and then loop it back into whatever program that you're feeding through for your RTMP, or if you're going direct.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So the promo's available now. It started on the 26th of June. It will be running through the end of September. $9.99 as we went through at the beginning. Do you want to do a quick run through of the bundle again?
Yeah.
The promo bundle? Yeah,
Absolutely.
Just in case anybody's tuned in a little late.
So in case you missed it, let's check it out. So the bundle that we're including now with the DJ-707M, the promo starts from today, goes through September 30th, and if you pick up a DJ-707M through AGI Pro DJ, you'll be able to get what's called the STREAMpack, and the STREAMpack includes the full Serato DJ suite. It's worth $299 on its own. You get a 90-day premium subscription if you're a new subscriber to BPM Supreme. And what that is, it's a record pool, but they've got a ton of different tracks. They've even got tracks that are already beat grid. They already have the key information. Those are called TR ready tracks, so you can sync that to the drum machine that's included on the DJ-707M. And they've got everything from recent tracks to classic tracks. The premium service, what that allows you to do is to download music from the curated playlist. So if you're familiar with something like Spotify's and you've ever clicked on a Spotify playlist, imagine if you can download all of that music from a Spotify playlist. That's literally what you're able to access through BPM Supreme. And then you get 2 Rolling Cloud training sessions. These are basically one-on-one courses with instructors. Sorry, they're not one-on-one. They're group lesson courses. I apologize. Group lesson courses that you'll be able to interact with a Roland product specialist like myself. We would go through a bit in depth of what each feature, what each function does. It's not a DJ class, but what it is, I go through and I teach the basics of mixing, how each knob is correlated to that idea of mixing, and then how to maximize the potential that you have at your fingertips. So again, if you buy a DJ-707M now through the end of September 30th, 2020, you'll be able to get the STREAMpack absolutely free, and that is $489 worth of value. So it's a huge potential savings.
It is, yeah.
And you don't have to buy another sound card.
Right, exactly. Again, like we were talking about, at this particular stage where a lot of people are streaming and whatnot, it's a great controller. Ease was explaining that it's something that he just throws in his luggage or his carry-on, and you can use it in a pinch as a full-blown mixer if for some reason maybe your main mixer goes out. So again, it's a great piece of gear to have as a backup device. Audio interface for streaming. You get the STREAMpack Bundle with the full Serato suite, which is worth $300, and then the BPM Supreme for a couple of months. So it's a lot of value packed into the promo. And
absolutely.
Yep, we love it. Daniel, really appreciate you joining us today, man. Thank you so much.
It's always good seeing you guys, and
yeah, for sure.
And we don't have that many trade shows that we can kind of hang out with and do all that kind of stuff and talk shop, but being able to do it like this in the comfort of our own homes is a real nice treat.
It is, for sure, for sure. It would be really cool to maybe down the road, maybe for a future episode, we could look at maybe like the 505 and the 808 and like the 202 and just go through the whole product line. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even have a clue how to use the drum machine on the top of the 505 or the 808.
Absolutely.
So
there's tons of potential. And then we can talk about things like the TR-8S if people already have a DJ setup and they just want to add that drum machine function into their setup. There's tons of different ways that
I see a future episode brewing for sure. For sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Again, a huge shout out to everybody who was on the Twitch Friends Takeover earlier today. Thanks for everybody for watching. We're going to work something out with Ease and get him on while all the venues are all shut down and he's not working. So we'll get him on our Twitch Friends Takeover, and we'll get Daniel to sing a little auto-tune vocals. And it's not auto-tune, right?
If it was on Twitch, I would have chosen a different song that would have. Right. Perfect. Next time. All right, man. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Joining us for our after hours. Thank you, Daniel from Roland, for joining us today. Going over the 707. If you have questions about the new controller or you want to pick one up, take advantage of that deal. Give us a holler. We've got the links in the comments on all the platforms, and you can always give us a call and hit us up on the chat or email. We're always available. Thanks so much for everybody for watching. Danny, thanks for joining us today. Ty from AGI Pro DJ. After hours, we're out. Peace.